Hello guys, welcome back to Real Reds Talk. Man United are nearly back and I am ready for it. I am absolutely ready for it. Slowly getting over the heartache of England going out of the World Cup. And of course they say the best way to get over something is to get under something, right? Or is that, maybe that's something different. Anyway, I'm here to discuss Jadon Sancho. Can he recapture that cage football class that he brought to Manchester United? What he had at Dortmund, basically. We've seen little bits of it at Manchester United, don't get me wrong, but not on a full scale. Not for 15 games in a row, 20 games in a row. Sancho's currently working on an individual program in the Netherlands where he is training alone at North Broadband Amateur Club, OGC Rasmalen, or no idea how you pronounce it at this point. And obviously after being left out of Southgate's 26-man squad, it's clearly taken effect on him mentally. Why wouldn't it? If you're a young star, your ambitions, especially as an English player at the minute, the way England are playing, to go far in a tournament, possibly win one. And Sancho obviously really wanted to go. And whether he felt like he deserved to or not, like any player or any other player in his position, you would want to go. If you're on the cusp of it, it's going to affect you. And these tournaments only come round every 4 years. You know what I mean? So, given the competition in the current England squad, he's got a mountain to climb to get back into that, I believe. He's more than capable of it because we've seen the talent he possesses. Don't forget, this is a guy who got something like 16 goals and 16 assists in the 2018 season, was it? I think, for Dortmund. 16 goals, 16 assists, or 17 assists it might have been. It was like 34 goal involvements. Mental. Absolutely mental. And you do not produce that kind of output if you're an average player. There has to be a player in there. And it's how that translates over from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, because we've only seen it work with set players. Like, do you remember when Shinji Kagawa came over from Dortmund to Manchester United? It was all right. Again, periods where he was good. Didn't really work out for him. God knows where he's playing at the minute. Couldn't tell you. Mkhitaryan obviously played for Dortmund, played for Arsenal, and played for us. Didn't really do that well for either team. Was okay for us. Scored in the final for us in the Europa League. Doesn't make him a great player. The only ones that spring to mind who have done really well, who've come over from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, is Gundogan. Gundogan sticks out there. Bellingham, when he makes his move to the Premier League, if he goes to the Premier League, which I do believe he will. I think he'll go to Man City or Liverpool. Is there any others? Let me know in the comment section. I can't think of ones that absolutely stand out. Now, I know Kevin De Bruyne played for Werder Bremen, but he originally started at Chelsea, didn't he? Kind of wasn't going well from there. Moved over to Germany, was doing really well, and then City took a kind of a little bit of a punt on him. And obviously he's the best midfielder in the world currently. So there are set ones. They both happen to be at Man City, but there's not a lot. That's my main point. And the question I ask myself with Jadon is, can he keep what we've seen in small sparks on a consistent basis, or is it the fact that the Premier League is just too much of a league for him? It's too intense. It's too difficult to deal with. Like, I remember obviously when Rangnick said the difference between the Bundesliga and the Premier League is the fact that the competition near the bottom can give you a good game on any god-given day, and every single game is an absolute graft. There's not time to settle. Obviously Sancho's a combination player, he's a flair player, he needs pieces of the puzzle moving around him in order for him to function. And in set games sometimes the pressure's that much on you, they're just getting on, like high press, the physical. And he seems to be struggling that the adaptation of that part slightly. And again, I want to bring it back to the England squad, because the first question I kind of ask myself is, can he get back into that squad? Based on his talent alone, I believe he can get back into that. But then can he even become a regular in that squad? Can he become a regular at Manchester United? These are the questions. If he gets himself as a regular there, playing a lot on the left-hand side, probably, because you're not going to sign Anthony for 85 million and then play Sancho as well. You can't play two players in the same position. You just can't do it, obviously. So it will be the left side, but then if Gakpo comes in, what happens then? If Rashford keeps playing how he's playing, will he stay on the left and then Martial's up top? So obviously healthy competition is what you want as a team. That's what you strive for, right? That's what Man City have. But then does Jadon Sancho have the mentality to deal with that and be a bit part player or rotational player? Because one of the reasons why he left Man City was because he felt like he deserved more game time. So will we see a similar situation? Will he get back into the English squad like I just said then? Southgate has his favourites and he expects a certain work rate off the ball as well. So Gareth likes a certain type of player and I don't think Sancho fits that bill. So if you ask me a question, does he get back into the English squad based on that, based on everything I've just said, the evidence provided? I don't think he does. I think he'd be a rotational player there, but I don't think he'll ever cement a starting spot there unless the manager changes at England. Maybe that will happen. Who knows? But bringing it back to club form, it doesn't help the fact that Antony's come in for a similar price, around that 70 to 80 million pound mark. Big price tag to have. I think Antony's definitely got the mentality to deal with it. You can see what kind of a player he is. And because he came in for a similar price, Antony's already hit the record that Sancho had last season where he scored 3 goals in his first season. Antony's already on that. He may well reach double figures. Who knows? He might get 8 to 10 goals in his first season, which is good for a winger. It's not bad, depending on, and the football isn't all about stats. I can see in-game that he's a very good player. I can see things that he does. I can see he's a help to us in the tactical sense, the way he keeps his width on the right. He can isolate people 1v1 and run at him. And as well, the thing about Antony is he's got the pace. Whereas Sancho can't really beat a man. He can beat a man, but then it was like me when I was a kid. Like I've always had good technical ability, but I'm not an athlete. Now, obviously, Jadon Sancho's a lot better athlete than I am. But my point is, I could beat a man, but then I didn't have the pace to keep up, like to stay past him. Do you know what I mean? I remember watching the derby and thinking, right, Sancho can skin Kyle Walker now, but he has to play really, really smart because he's never beaten him for pace. Never beaten him for pace. So that is one thing I think he struggles with. Maybe you adapt your game, in an intelligent sense to work a way around that. I don't know. But with Antony coming in, and maybe he could hit a similar thing in 6 months' time, and we could be talking about the same thing, saying Antony's out of form, he's out of sorts, he's not in the squad, he's got a massive price tag. I believe every player in their career at some moment, even the best, even Messi, Ronaldo, these kind of guys, when they are playing at their absolute best, they can have their absolute worst as well in the same season or the season after. We've seen this with loads of times. Think about Marcus Rashford, for example. Last season, he looked awful. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure when we did a show on Real Reds Talk, we said him and Maguire got the worst player of the tournament, like the trophy, our virtual trophy. That's what we give him. Now you look at Rashford this season, he's a completely different player. Physically, he looks better. Mentally, he looks better. On the pitch, he's just gliding past people again. He's running at people. He's scoring goals, scoring headers. So his game's completely changed since Ten Hag has come in. So why? There's no evidence to suggest against it that it can't happen with Sancho on this individual programme. None at all. Don't forget, most people were saying about Rashford, the fan base was saying, sell him to PSG. I don't care if he goes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Every player has these moments. It's important to remember that. Every single player has these moments. And, if you think about it now, Jadon Sancho's kind of surrounded by players who have been through this. So he's got a good crowd around him to help him, get through this kind of struggle. And the coach, by the way, the coach ain't bad either. So he's got the right people, the right experience around him. And it's a little bit of a purple patch. He's not been playing terrible. He scored against Liverpool. He scored against Leicester. He's, a good few assists. But the odd game, he tends to, pop in and out of it. He don't make a massive impact. There's been games where he's a little bit flat. Needs to take him off. And the main thing that sticks in my head when I watch Jadon Sancho, he always seems to come off at the 60th, 70th minute. And it seems to be a fitness issue. He looks tired. He's blowing a bit out of his arse. He's not tracking back as much. He's not... It's something to do with his fitness. Whatever that is, I have no idea. And sometimes the situations off the pitch that you can't control that affect your on-pitch performance. We've seen that with Jesse Lingard. When Jesse Lingard was playing shit, which he has loads of times, don't get me wrong, but he had a set period when he was here. Everyone was jumping on his back. And then later on, you find out he's, the struggles that he's dealing with. So as fans, I believe we should get behind him, support him, have patience. He will bounce back. I'm fully convinced of it. And we're going to need him firing on all cylinders in order to make that top 4. So I think sometimes people tend to forget how old these players are. This guy is 21, 22, something like that. 300 grand a week, playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. like, just imagine it. Obviously, for set people, you know, anyone listening to this, it's everybody's, you know, dream as a teenage boy to be a footballer, to earning that amount of money, and etc. etc. But it comes with scrutiny, pressure, uncertainty, and something that happened, like the Euros, for example, when Saka, Rashford, and Sancho missed the penalties, the amount of racial abuse they received, social media pressure, all that kind of jazz. It can affect you. It can affect you. Then you don't go to the World Cup. Your club form's on a bit of a low, so it's going to hit you hard, regardless who you are. No one is superhuman. These footballers are still human, and we have to take it from that side, the human element. A lot of the times, they just need to simplify the game. I remember Gary Neville saying that, don't try too much, keep the basics tight, and then the rest will just naturally flow. And I believe that is something Erik ten Hag will integrate into the player. And he'll just say, look, the talent is there, just do your basics right, keep it simple, and then once you start getting a bit of a base and a foundation and a platform, work your way up from that, and start changing up your game a bit when you're coming up against wing-backs, try different things. And that's all it takes. Ten Hag will know this, so I have no qualms about the situation at all. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Jadon Sancho, can he bring back that form, recapture that form that he had at Dortmund? That beautiful player that we saw, getting assists, getting goals, skinning players left, right, centre. There's a player in there. Trust me, there is a player in there, and we need him back. We definitely need him back. But as fans, we are all behind you, Jadon Sancho, if you're watching, which you're probably not. We hope you can recapture your form, because you're a special talent, and you should be playing regular for us. There's no doubt about that. I think if we get a Sancho firing, we bring Gakpo in, we've got Antony, Martial can stay fit, Rashford's there, you've got Garnacho coming through the ranks. Like, that is a great headache to have as a manager. That's just a thought to keep at the side. Super looking forward to the game against Burnley next week. We're going to have a preview for that probably on the Monday, because we go away on the Tuesday. So, yeah, I'm excited to get back into United. I love the World Cup, don't get me wrong. It's been an amazing tournament. But it's time for the return of United now, where the heart lies mainly. You have a little vacation, but you're always going home to the wife, the football, the Manchester United, you know what I'm saying? Old Trafford. It's where love is. It's where love's at. So we'll keep a close eye on Jadon Sancho. Obviously, we will go live for updates and stuff like that, if there is any. But aside from that, it's your usual schedule. There's a show Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You've got the World Cup final on Sunday, Messi versus Mbappe. Could be something dropping on that. Make sure you keep an eye out. Saturday, I'll be playing some FIFA. We'll do a bit of a Q&A on Friday, tomorrow. So, today, innit? Yeah, because this is going out today. So, yeah, just keep an eye on the schedule. Make sure you follow us on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for clips on the show, regular updates on Manchester United's transfer business and stuff like that, and surrounding the Glazers, because obviously there's a lot going on with the takeover in a minute. And yeah, this is where it's at, Real Reds Talk. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care of yourselves. Peace. Have a lovely weekend.